Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a short video on the early stages of the OCD recovery journey from my experience, and what it looked like. It's a topic that, or a question that comes up quite a lot in the OCD recovery group, so it's obviously a fairly important factor for people. But it can certainly in my case, it took a long time for me to even realize that I had OCD. So that's the first thing to kind of mention. It took me sort of 25, 30 years to finally get to a point where I knew that's what it was. For prior to that, I thought, I was just a bit of a worrier or deep thinker and stuff like that. But a lot of people are in the same boat. It can take a long time for them to sort of often stumble across the fact that it is actually OCD. So, assuming that somebody knows that it's OCD, like me, once I found out that it was OCD, I obviously wanted to kind of deal with it and get it sorted. Um, Again, in my experience, but a lot of other people find this as well, that you can go down a lot of dead end routes. First of all, I certainly did. I spent time doing, lots, trying to do lots of different things like mindfulness, and I even spoke to somebody who was trained in OCD via the NHS, but whatever it was, it didn't really make any difference, to be honest. I'm not saying there weren't any benefits, because there probably were, but nothing that I did really kind of dealt with it at all until I stumbled across Rob and OCD recovery, and that's the kind of first and only time, and that I've seen any difference, and completely changed everything really. So I think first of all, it's worth mentioning that don't worry if you've spent time doing certain things and they've not worked. Um, I still believe, and in my experience, there aren't that many absolute experts out there. So it can sometimes be challenging to find the right person, but it is getting better. Certainly within this group and OCD recovery, and with Rob, it's yeah, obviously it's a different matter. But yeah, I think once you kind of get to that point where it's the OCD, and you want to start working on things, I think people are in different situations, whether they're kind of at their wits' end or at rock bottom, and desperately need some kind of help, or whether or not they've got, I don't know, an important part of their life coming up, they're getting married, or, moving in with a partner, or having a child, or something like that. Or just fed up of, a long time of these worries and stuff like that. So everyone's situation is different, but I think you kind of, you get to a point where you're kind of having enough of a difficulty to really kind of commit to taking that step, and starting that recovery journey. Really, it's not an easy route. It's the right route, but it isn't the easy route. There's lots of other things that you can do that might be easier to do, but they're not going to get you to where you need to be. So it does take, well, for me personally, a lot of hard work. It takes time, and I think probably commitment is probably the right way to look at it. You've really got to commit to all areas. And I don't mean sort of 24/7, because that can send you, backwards really. You've got to just take your time and commit to what you can, and the things that you're learning will slowly kind of start to shape. So for me, I was at a point where I was willing to really sort of commit and do what I needed to do to kind of get past this. So I personally stumbled across Rob's Instagram page, started watching some of his videos, just kind of gauging kind of what it was all about, and a lot of it rang true. And I know that's the same for a lot of people that have kind of worked with OCD recovery. So it kind of started with that, and then I reached out to Rob, and the first thing that I was doing was added to the group WhatsApp, and I didn't want to be in there initially at all. I'm very private with things like that. I didn't want to be involved with anybody else, or yeah, it wasn't for me. But I gave it a bit of time, and it was actually one of the best things that is on offer, really, because you're immediately with people that are maybe not have the exact same worries as you, but you've all got the common theme, which is OCD. So number one, you're not on your own with it. You've got various people that are in the same boat, which is good. You can get support from other people, vice versa. You're there to give support to those other people as well, and have a bit of a laugh as well. It's not all doom and gloom. It's quite funny at times. So that was really helpful once I'd kind of got comfortable with sort of being in that sort of group. So that was really good. But alongside that was working with Rob one to one over the phone, and for me, that was by far the biggest kind of changer for me. It was kind of there was no mucking about. We it was kind of straight to the point. Dug straight into what was kind of worrying me, and what I've been going through for recently, and further back, to kind of see what my problem was. But it was about looking forward. It was about looking at kind of your mindset and your thought process and your beliefs, and kind of Rob would sort of challenge that. He would ask questions, and really kind of get me to sort of look at my own beliefs that kind of surround the worries and the OCD themes, or whatever you want to call them, and kind of why they might be there. So that was a big turning point for me. Wasn't always easy. Sometimes you're kind of hearing things that maybe you don't want to hear, but in the end of the day, it's taking you down that right route, and it's doing the hard stuff to really kind of you know look at it, and work out where you're going wrong, and why you're basically your kind of crooked thinking or your irrational beliefs are fueling those kind of fears and those worries and stuff like that. So so that was part of it also, along with the group calls as well, and again, similar to the WhatsApp group, but they were group Skype calls, so they were also very good. Again, you're with people and seeing people and speaking to people that are in similar boats, and seeing kind of their difficulties, and kind of helping each other out. But I think that the thing is, although everybody has these different kind of concerns, the underlying reason why you've got these worries in life, and the way to beat them is pretty much very, very similar, or the same. So it's really, really helpful. um, Lots of reading, that was also a big part of the start, and it continued of the journey to recovery. So there is a specific reading list that we kind of go through in a particular order. Again, it takes a lot of time and commitment to kind of spend time doing it. You've got to really want to do it, but real game changers for lots of people in this group. They're not kind of wishy-washy, what I think's like mumbo jumbo sort of self-help books. These are solid books that are steeped in philosophy and things like that, and really do kind of get you to kind of look at how you're thinking, and look at why you're thinking like that, and why you might be having these issues. And a lot of it is down to kind of how we perceive things, and how we believe things should be, and that's not necessarily always the right thing to do. So those books, again, challenge the way you look at things, and help you to kind of look at that, and actually give you specific practical ways of kind of trying to change the way you look at things, and question it, and try and improve the way you look at things. So again, the reading was really, really important to the recovery journey for me, certainly. um, there were ERP exercises that were set. Again, with guidance, they were really helpful for me. Things that you'd probably you'd never want to do in normal life, you'd never choose to do. But again, with a bit of commitment, and trust in what you're doing, it kind of shows you that those fears that you've got actually are quite unfounded. They're nothing really to be fearful of, and that those exercises really kind of cut through that, starting off kind of small and then gradually kind of building up, I guess. But again, yeah, very important part of that recovery journey. I think, for me, that there's lots of different tools that are set out to kind of get started on that journey, whether it's having a one-to-one with Rob, whether it's the reading, whether it's looking at and disputing your irrational beliefs, lots of different things. But the one big thing is working on your acceptance of things, so your self-acceptance, and acceptance of life scenarios, and of other people, and situations. That really gets under most OCD fears and themes. It really does. It's not easy, and it does take time, but it's well worth it. And actually, even people without OCD or anything like that could probably benefit from doing that type of work. It's kind of opens your eyes and allows you to look at things and very, very differently. So that's probably one of the biggest areas of the start of that journey that you need to start working on. And I think with OCD recovery and things like that, it's a lot of, obviously you need the guidance, in my opinion. I certainly did. I think there's lots of things that you can do that will benefit you, that are on offer here, like the videos, the Instagram page, that kind of stuff. That can definitely benefit you. But for me, I needed that one-to-one initially. It just cut straight through it. It educated me, and I think the education side is paramount, really, because it helps you understand how it all works. And once you understand kind of your OCD, how it works, why it's doing it, and how you get under it, you can use that for however long you need to. So I think the therapy, along with the tools that you're given, can give you a very decent rounded toolkit, really. The background work is, again, vital. Again, for me, if I wasn't willing to put in the time to do the stuff in the background, it's not about just speaking to Rob and getting off a call and thinking, yeah, I'm done. You've got to go away. You've got to put these things into practice. You've got to really spend time disputing those beliefs, or looking at how you think about things, or spending time reading, or watching videos on things, and exposing yourself to certain situations. You've got to do that stuff in the background, however hard it might seem. That really is very, very key to getting started on that recovery journey. And I think people, I think difficulty is that people that are that kind of desperate to go looking for some kind of help, because they're desperate, because they're sort of at that stage, they feel like they need that quick fix. But there isn't one, in my opinion. There's no secret magic formula that immediately you're going to feel better. So it's important to accept that it's going to take time. You're not going to feel immediately better quickly. It's going to take effort, and it's going to take your commitment to putting these tools into practice. Although, saying that, when I was doing my one-to-one initially, I did quickly see a change, and immediately it was a bit of a light bulb. You could see where you were going wrong and stuff like that. But to kind of continue that journey, and to really sort of feel that change and really understand it, it does take time. It does take hard work. So I think all I'd say to anybody that is wondering how to kind of start that journey is to, number one, make sure that you're getting guidance from an actual expert, somebody that really does understand it. Because there's lots of things on offer that aren't necessarily going to get you down the right route. And sometimes they'll benefit you, and you know, that's great. But if you don't see a continual um, progression, you can, I guess, become a bit despondent and think that, you know, it's not going to work for you or for your type of OCD, or you're a lost case or whatever it may be. But actually, if you find the right person and you follow the right guidance, and kind of put in the right work from the outset, then you're going to be in a much stronger position. So yeah, that's my one bit of advice really, is find the right person, find the right sort of resources to get you on the right track, and then it's down to you to kind of soak it in, and spend time putting it all together, and challenging your beliefs, and trying to do all of the things that you're taught. So yeah, hope that might help.